Hello and welcome to Frontline Model Hobbies, and as you can see we've got the Mistel S1 by ICM Revew, and we all know what's going on with Ukraine, and we know the situation with ICM, we've all seen it, but it's not only ICM, it's Mini Art, Roden, all the other companies that are in Ukraine, and they've all got issues with the war. And I just want to say that, you know, I've read and seen everything that is on about the war, and I totally agree with what everybody's saying. That being said, there's some people out there that think, yeah, but what about the kits? I say fuck the kits. So long as the people are safe, that's the priority, that's the main thing at the moment. I don't really care, and I hope they come back, same with Mini Art and stuff, but if they don't come back, then I'd rather that over anybody losing their life. So with that out of the way, let's have a look in the box. So it's a Mistel S1. So very quickly on this, very quickly. The S1 denotes a training version. So as you can see, the canopy on the A4. Now this is an A4 JU88. So you've got an F4, and this is sort of towards the back end of the war. So these were all surplus. They weren't using the A4s, and they weren't using the F4 109s. So they could just use them as when they needed them. So the Mistel 1 version is the bomb. And then you've got the Mistel S2, which is a totally different variant to this. It's still a JU88, but it's the G1 and G10. And I think the S3 is the H version. I think. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, the Mistel 2 and the Mistel S2 will have the Focke-Wulf. Now that would be the A8, the A9 or the F8, depending on what scheme. So you need to do a bit of research on what particular Focke-Wulf goes on the top. Now in the grand scheme of things, if you've got a G Dragon kit, you might be able to change the engines, the tail and the wingtips. And obviously you've got to change that cupola at the bottom, which you can see there wasn't on the G, and then just put a Focke-Wulf on the top. Now I'm going to try and get into this box. I'll say I'll try. I must admit I've opened it prior to this, and it was a struggle because I've debagged it, but I think we need a timer on this one. But oh, as you can see, it's quite difficult to get into. Hey, in one. Okay, so you've got a little pissy flap there. Open that. As you can see, these are normally bagged, but get that in camera like so. So yeah, this is normally bagged, so you've got your sprues anyway. So I'm going to drag these out, pull your camera in, and you can have a look. So bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to go over the instructions particularly quickly anyway. We'll put the pictures up, or I'll put the pictures up at the end. So turn of the page, you've got one page of the JU88, the rest of the JU88 and the 109 sprue callouts. So obviously there's highlighted stuff that you're not going to use, like the weapons, the bombs and stuff for the JU88, and some engine components, because this is an A4 version. So that's what you're going to use. So jumping straight in. So pages 1, or shall I say pages 6, 7, through to, I think, at the top of page 9 is doing the cockpit and the fuselage. So the only items that I've got really is obviously you've got this seat here, which is 2 parts, like you can see there on step 20. Don't particularly like that, but it's not really a big issue to clean it out. To clean the seam out, I mean. So yeah, not too bad. So you go on to the page 9, which is the horizontal stabilizers and tail section. Obviously, actually, going on to the tail section, like I said, all I'm going to say in a bit, watch out for your call outs, your references, just to make sure you get the right tail for the right plane that you're doing. Going on to the wings, step 29 and 30, and then that's it all going together. Particularly I would build it like that. It's ICM have got it near enough spot on, and that's how it should really go together. It does, trust me, it does. Moving on, you're putting on the flaps and stuff, you can do that all afterwards, not a problem. Putting the rear cupola together, and then you've got the landing gear that goes together like so. Quite comprehensive landing gear, really quite strong and sturdy. Moving on, you've got 2 complete engines with this kit that goes together. You don't really see much, as you can see from step 67, part 21 going on there. No detail whatsoever to speak about inside the wheel wells, but generally speaking, when you get over the page and you start putting the what do you call it, the engine unit and the landing gear unit with all the doors and everything, you get to see next to nothing anyway. Moving on, you put in the glass on and the props, but I won't do that until the end of the props. Putting the rear cupola section on, I believe you can have that open. Moving on to putting the wheels on, one step for that, which I'm not quite sure why. Gear doors. Moving on to the canopy, and then you move on to the 109. The 109 is exactly the same. Moving with the cockpit, the engine. Engine's not as detailed as what you'll probably see later. Putting the fuselage together. Fuselage onto the wings. Again, I'd probably do it that way. They've got it spot on. It'll probably eliminate the gap between the wing to fuselage. Putting the wingtips on, putting the canopies on. And as you can see, it's quite, you do get, and this is page 28 now, so there is quite a lot of steps to go through. Then you've got your decal call outs, which is not like an F4 Phantom, which is quite cool. And then putting the top plane on. Won't put that on and won't put these on until you've painted both kits, because I did that on a 30-second kit and I got weird overspray and all sorts in here. So I'll put it all on afterwards, and that's what it looks like when it's done. Quite a mean monster, to be honest with you. This, I'm not sure if it's 1-to-1, but I'll just put, or just get some canopy masks or make your own. And then you've got 2 different schemes for the 109, but they're the same: RLM 74, 75, 76 bottom, and the 70, 71 schemes on the JU88. Particularly fast, I know, but I'll put the pictures up on afterwards. So, decals are decals. They're quite thin, really cool. Never had a problem with ICM, but it's nice to have the instrument decals to go with it. And yeah, I'll put a picture of that up in a bit as well. So let's move on to the sprues. Right, okay, so first one I'm going to show you is the 109, and it comes on 3 sprues, as you can see. And the first sprue obviously comprises obviously the fuselage and stuff like that. The only gripe I've got about the way it looks is the props. Waypointy, obviously you've got a paddle one and a non-paddle one. Yeah, not too happy with that, but you can reshape them, or you can just get some resin ones. Flash is flash, it can be sanded, but there is some stuff on there. This is an earlier kit of ICM, don't assume this is a new tooled. And obviously the panel lines are a bit deep for my liking, but if you like chucking paint on a kit and chucking primer and everything else and you want to do it right, then they're going to disappear. Inside detail, yeah, everything's moulded in, nothing's separate. I mean, you can get a resin cockpit that will fit an Edard kit, but if it were me and I'm going to do it, I'll throw an Edard kit on the top of it, the cheap. So anyway, that's that. Wing section, and let's wait for the chav to go by. Nice one. Obviously you've got the wing section. Cheers for that. So yeah, you've got the wing section there. So same circumstances of the fuselage. You've deep trench panel lines and it's quite rough textured, but it built together really well, so I can't fault it of how it went together, to be honest with you, from what I can remember, or can't remember. Just depends on which way you look at it. Anyway, again, you've got all your lumps and bumps, and it's nice to have the wingtips as one part. Same with the horizontal stabilizers. If you wanted to put the elevators down, I suppose you can just score it and pull it down, or you just chop it off. Either way, engine is not overly super detailed, but you can put wiring in there, nothing stopping you. And same with the cockpit, you can get probably a resin one, or like I said, you can just go out and buy the Edard one. But either way, I can't really fault it. The only thing you got to do is just probably drill out that front cannon, even though he didn't carry any weapons. So where's the weapons on here? Is that them? No. Where is the weapons? Is that the gun barrels? I'm not quite sure. I can't see them. But don't put the gun barrels on whatsoever. But yeah, that's the one around. Another quick sprue. This is obviously the main part, is the bracing work, and I must admit they've done a pretty good job on that. Like I said, I did the 32nd one, and it was the height of the rear trailing arm that holds the rear tail up. You might want to cut the 2M pieces off, or just make your own out of brass, because I'm thinking, is it too flimsy? And you don't want the 109, because what our problem I had is, like, if you can imagine, the 109 sat on the top and it's just flopping around. So that's why I replaced it with brass. And obviously you got the V segment for the A-frame at the front. Your different sort of bits and bobs, and that's the rear strap, stay, whatever you want to call it, that sort of catches that segment there. So that's that piece. Okay, I'm going to gloss over this one pretty quickly because this has been done to death review wise, as the ICM stuff has, especially the JU88s, but you can tell the difference between the moulding detail. Still looks like the panel lines are a bit sort of deep trenched, but under paint I don't think that's going to be particularly a problem. So very, very finely moulded, very nice looking on the inside. You've got a couple of ejection pin marks in there, but I think it's covered over by a floor in certain areas. So yeah, that's one sprue. The upper wing section, again, nothing too elaborate. Obviously the details, from what I can remember, are there on the real one, so you don't need to rescribe, if any, from what I can remember, panel line wise. But if you wanted to rivet it, you could probably, and a bit of fluff on that, bit of pube. But yeah, very nicely done. And before anybody writes in, it wasn't a pube. Anyway, this is the main sprue for the engines. Obviously you've got the different bottom halves. So the A4 will have these. So that's the A4 version, and this is what I made a mistake on the 32nd one. So that's what you need. I'm not quite sure what they're for, something to do with cooling or engine, or something to do with engine anyway. But again, you've got all your different tails. So obviously different versions of the JU88 add different sections of these. So you see you've got that version of a tail, and if I can find it, This is the point where I'll make myself look like an idiot. Oh, yeah. And that's the other version. So you've got an indented segment there, whereas you haven't on this one, and you've got the various different tails. And one thing they used to do during the end of the war was cobble anything today, so you could see like an A with a C bottom half of the fuselage, and C's that had A fronts, C's and G's that had different segments and different engines. So they sort of went, oh, let's just throw anything together. So you technically look at your references and throw anything together, what you need to. So you've kind of got everything on here. Again, don't put the die flaps on because they didn't have them. Let's have a look. I'm just at the camera. So I'll just try and get you in. So obviously inside the gear doors are quite nice details in there, looking particularly good. This is one focus of area where there's no detail whatsoever. There should be grills on there going all the way around. These are photo etch set that you can get, or if you've got some grills somewhere and you can sort of fashion them somehow. Not quite sure how you do that, but it should have some sort of grill, because these were not radials. These were air cooled. These were water cooled, but they made it look like they were air cooled. So yeah, and obviously you've got your rear tail wheel, which unfortunately is moulded in one piece, but a trick that I found is using oils to make it look like it's not one piece, if you know what I mean. So engines, sprue with all the engines on. So you get two complete engines. You do get two sprues, which kind of, yeah, I'm going to prove it. You do get two sprues. There you go. So you get two complete sprues. So everything's on there. You even get the machine guns and everything. Again, don't put the machine guns on because it didn't carry it. That is the JU88. Didn't carry anything armoured. And there we have it. So the engines, as you can compare it to the 109, look really good. Yeah, really nice at that. Last sprue, very quickly, is look at those landing gears. They look really nice. Obviously you've got a mould seam line going down like you have with anything injection moulded, but really good. Again, the flaps, the ailerons are all one piece, so that's really nice. Nothing to glue there. And then these are all your points and segments for the cockpit and the landing gear. I'm not going to get this out, but the glass, in fact, no, I'm not going to get it out. The glass is spot on from what I can remember. Certain areas like there, so we get it in shot, it's rubbing on the inside of there, but it's spot on that. And there we have it. Right, that is the review of the Mistel S1 by ICM. Just hope they come back. Just really do hope they come back. They're a fantastic company. My all best to Ukraine and everybody over there. Yeah, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you again next time.